Have you ever felt like you are sinking into quicksand and you don't know if you will ever be able to get out of it and come up for air? What is it that you think enables you to come back up to the surface and breathe again? I've often felt like this in my life, but there is one thing that has enabled me to regain my strength, focus on my purpose, and come back up for air. And that is the power of hope. Now, I'm sure you're all thinking, what is a lawyer going to tell me about hope? Don't lawyers just sit in their offices all day or courtrooms and debate about issues and create more conflict for one another? Well, let me tell you that I've actually had several significant experiences with hope, and I would like to share them with you to see if any of them resonate. What is hope? When I spoke with people about what hope was, here are some of the responses I received. Hope is a feeling of expectation and desire for a certain thing to happen. Hope is a feeling of trust. Hope is believing that good days lie ahead, being optimistic. Hope gives people perspective. Hope means the ability to see a future and have things to look forward to. The dictionary defines hope as an optimistic state of mind that is based on an expectation of positive outcomes with respect to events and circumstances in one's life or the world at large. What does hope mean to you? Now, this may look like the perfect happy family, but it was not easy to create and required a significant amount of hope. At the age of 20, I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis and was told by a rheumatologist that I would be in a wheelchair within 1 year. At this time, I started to go down into that deep quicksand or vortex, but I had to pull myself back out. I was hopeful that I would not end up in a wheelchair, and I started doing things that would prevent this from happening to me. I changed my diet and became pescatarian. The doctors told me not to exercise, but I didn't listen, and I swam every day and continued to remain physically active. As you can see, I am not in a wheelchair, and I have never been. I teach yoga and continue to exercise regularly, and I feed my health with yoga and meditation. The power of hope. My next experience with hope came around 2008. I had always known that I wanted children and a family. As I started the process of trying to conceive, I realized it did not come easy for me. I underwent several surgeries and treatments. I tried this insemination and that insemination. I tried in vitro like this and in vitro like that. I never thought they would use what looked like a turkey baster to attempt to get me pregnant, or a magic wand to examine my uterus. My fertility doctor was such a kind man, and he tried to help me when none of the treatments worked. He suggested that I use someone else's embryos, and he arranged for a meeting with a couple to provide me with their embryos. Unfortunately, on the day I was supposed to meet them, they separated. Can you believe that people are now donating or selling their embryos? If I tried to explain this to my relatives at the time, they would have never understood this concept. At this point in my fertility journey, I believe I did have a period where I started to lose hope. I turned to yoga meditation, and coaching to help me through these times. I became certified as a registered yoga teacher with Yoga Alliance, and I now teach in my community and at conferences. I also became certified as a professional health and wellness and career coach with the International Coaching Federation. While all of these things helped me to bring hope back into my life and healing, there was still something missing in my life. In early 2015, I was teaching a lot of yoga classes, and I thought that I had pulled a muscle in my right leg. After much testing, the doctors discovered that I had a large grapefruit-sized tumor in my right hip bone. I received a phone call from my doctor while I was at the Toronto airport, ready to travel to Florida. My doctor told me to come back home and obtain the test results, but I refused. So she decided to tell me over the phone that I may have bone cancer. I had two options: return home to undergo more testing or get on the plane and enjoy some sunshine and sand. I chose the sun and sand and got on that plane to Florida. People may think I was crazy for doing that, but there was something inside of me that told me that I would be okay. The power of hope. This was one of the most inspirational experiences of hope that I ever had. When I returned home, I had 2 biopsies, and the doctors discovered that I had won the lottery, but not in a good way. I had a very rare tumor that only 1 in a million people got. Thankfully, it was benign. The power of hope. It was later that year, in September 2015, that I received a phone call from a social worker. I'd been on an adoption list for about 5 years, and she said that she had a miracle to tell me about. There was a 3-month-old healthy baby boy who was available for adoption, and she wanted to know if I would like to meet him. I cried for joy and immediately scrambled to prepare my home for a newborn baby. I had no car seat, no crib, no high chair, and no idea how this baby would change my life. I brought Connor home on October 2nd, 2015. The power of hope. After giving up on the thought of being able to ever have another child or a sibling for my baby boy, another miracle of hope occurred. In 2018, just before Christmas, and after meeting my true soulmate, I found out that I was pregnant. My doctor and I were both shocked. Another miracle arrived. In June 2019, baby Chloe was born. The power of hope. Both Connor and Chloe are now 6 and 2 and very active and healthy children. They are such miracles and blessings in my life, and I don't think that they would have been possible without the power of hope. There are significant studies on a direct link between optimism or hope and health. Do people who see the glass half full enjoy better health than those who see the glass half empty? According to studies from the US and Europe reported through Harvard, the answer is yes. Optimism and hope helps people cope from recovery and disease. Even more impressive is the impact of a positive outlook on overall health and longevity. Research tells us that an optimistic outlook early in life can predict better health and a lower rate of death during follow-up periods of 15 to 40 years. In some studies, doctors evaluated over 300 middle-aged patients who were scheduled to undergo coronary artery bypass surgery. In addition to a complete preoperative physical exam, each patient underwent a psychological evaluation designed to measure optimism, depression, neuroticism, and self-esteem. The researchers tracked all the patients for 6 months after surgery. When they analyzed the data, they found that optimists were only half as likely as pessimists to require rehospitalization. In a similar study of approximately 300 angioplasty patients, optimism was also predictive over a 6-month period. Pessimists were 3 times more likely than optimists to have heart attacks or require repeat angioplasties or bypass operations. So where does this leave us? Well, it shows us that we need to incorporate more hopeful or optimistic practices into our daily routine. Here are some steps that you can take to start to increase your hope in your life. Create a gratitude journal or use a gratitude app. Treat each day like a gift. Take 5 minutes a day to meditate. Put away your phone and take some quiet time to reflect on what you are grateful for and what is happening to you in the present moment. Be kind to yourself. Grant yourself permission to do at least one thing each day that you enjoy. Taking a walk, calling a friend, having your favorite coffee or tea, sitting by the fire, taking a bubble bath. Express love. Give someone you love a hug or reach out to someone that you care about at least once daily. We all need love and affection in our lives. Use affirmations. Each morning I wake up to an affirmation card of Louise Hay. You don't have to have the time to do this. Just choose an affirmation for yourself. Perhaps saying a loving kindness meditation each morning in front of the mirror. I'm happy, I'm peaceful, I'm well. Consider doing something kind for someone else. You may not have time to do this every day, but maybe once a month or once a week. Try doing something nice for someone else. Maybe buying them a coffee, maybe volunteering your time at the local hospital or a shelter, or just being kind to someone. Take the time to exercise. For me, yoga has been so powerful, and I do believe it increased my chance at pregnancy. I've always thought if everyone practiced yoga daily, the world would be such a better place. Overall, I can tell you all the stories in the world about how there is a direct link between hope and your health. But I think until you have a direct experience with it yourself, you may not truly believe it. But wouldn't it be better to live your life being more hopeful and taking the chance that it just might make your life better? The power of hope. Thank you for listening to me today.